Welcome back to today's video. We'll be review the 2008 adventure animation movie, Wally. Get ready to remember all the adventures parts and thrilling moments of this unforgettable movie. The story starts on a messy Earth where everything looks ruined. It seems like there's no life left there. People now live on a big spaceship because Earth is not nice anymore. They left robots on Earth to clean up, but only one robot is still working, and it's called Wally. One evening, after a busy day of work, Wally discovers a friendly cockroach and brings it to his messy home. His home is a messy place with lots of robot parts and cool things he's found. When he gets there, he puts on a video and watches it on TV. He sees a video of humans holding hands and really wants someone like that for himself. But then he sees a sandstorm coming, so he closes up his home and goes to sleep. The next day, Wally goes about his usual routine of collecting garbage, but he gets really surprised when he finds a small plant growing. This is a big deal, because there haven't been plants for a really long time. He's careful with it and takes it back to his home. While he's there, he notices a moving red light and gets curious about it. He follows it and ends up in a desert where a strange spaceship lands. The spaceship drops off a weird pod and then flies away. Wally watches the pod, and a robot named Eve comes out of it. She looks sleek and cool, and Wally falls in love with her right away. Eve is feisty and shoots lasers sometimes, but Wally still likes her. He watches Eve all day and figures out she's looking for something. He gets brave and goes up to talk to her. She talks to him, but she doesn't tell him much about what she's doing. Wally is a bit disappointed, but they keep talking about other things. Then, a sandstorm comes out of nowhere, and they both get caught in it. Eve is confused, but Wally helps her get to his home, where he shows her his collection of things he's found. He gives her a light bulb, a bubble wrapper, and a Rubik's Cube. She's amazed by all of it. They watch a movie and even dance. Then, he shows her the plant. She scans it and her radar turns green, which means she was looking for a plant this whole time. She takes the plant and sends a message into space. After that, she goes into sleep mode, and Wally tries everything to wake her up, but it doesn't work. He's really sad about it. Wally keeps trying to wake up Eve, but nothing works. So, he decides to spend time with her, staying close by. One day, he goes to work and leaves Eve at his home. Later, the ground shakes, and he sees the same spaceship from before landing at his place. He rushes over and watches as the spaceship takes the sleeping Eve and puts her in a pod with other robots that look like her. Wally says goodbye to his pet cockroach and grabs onto the spaceship just before it takes off. As the ship goes into space, Wally gets thrown off and drifts away for a moment. Thankfully, he manages to grab on again and holds tight as the ship passes by the moon and stars. Eventually, they reach a big spaceship called the Axiom, where humans have been living for a long time. The spaceship parks in a waiting area and takes Eve and the other robots for an examination. A machine scans Eve and finds the plant in her storage, which sets off an alarm. Some robots quickly take her away. Wally follows them and ends up in a hallway full of machines. He makes his way through and suddenly sees a bunch of humans. He's amazed because they look really different. They're all overweight, and Wally realizes they don't do things for themselves anymore. Robots do everything for them. These humans only drink sugary stuff and don't eat healthy food like veggies. Because of this, and the low gravity in space, they've changed a lot. They're fat and have weak bones. Wally keeps following Eve and meets two humans on the way, and they become friends. Eventually, he sees Eve being taken into the ship's control room, so he follows her there. In the control room, the spaceship's captain, McRae, and the ship's robotic wheel, Otto, perform a routine check on the spacecraft. After everything checks out, McRae addresses the entire ship through projected screens. He tells them that it's been 700 years since humans left Earth. Many generations have come and gone in that time, but he congratulates the passengers for making it this far. Before McRae can finish his speech, Otto interrupts to report Eve's return with a plant. The captain is surprised because no robot has ever come back from Earth with a plant before. He checks an automated manual, and an old video plays, explaining that bringing back a plant means Earth is now livable again. The video instructs the captain to put the plant in a holodetector, which will immediately turn the ship around and head back to Earth. Shortly after waking up, Eve sees Wally and is surprised to find him on the Axiom. She quickly hides him in a corner. Meanwhile, Captain McRae gives the ship's AI permission to take the plant from Eve. The robot opens her cabinet, but it's empty. McRae thinks something might be wrong with Eve's program and sends her to the diagnostic center. As Eve leaves, Wally goes up to the captain and shakes him. McRae looks at his hand and finds dirt in it. This makes him send Wally to the diagnostic center along with Eve. After they're gone, McCrae examines the dirt and realizes it's from Earth. He becomes fascinated and starts researching all sorts of details about the planet. The captain gets really interested and makes a promise to return home. Eve and Wally finally arrive at the center. Wally is put in a cell for faulty robots, while Eve is taken to a repair ward. She's being taken care of, but Wally misunderstands and thinks they are hurting her. He charges in to rescue her and accidentally damages the controls, releasing all the faulty robots. This causes them to be labeled as robots, and they are quickly chased by the other machines. Eve is angry at Wally for causing trouble, but she still saves him from the pursuing robots. She takes him to an exit room and puts him in an escape pod heading back to Earth. But just before the pod takes off, they hear a robot coming, so they hide to avoid being caught. They see Otto's henchman, Go4, hiding the missing plant in the pod and setting the ship to self-destruct. When Go4 leaves, Wally rushes into the pod to get the plant for Eve, but he gets locked in and sent into space. The self-destruct countdown begins, and Wally panics, trying to push buttons to stop it, but nothing works. Eve gets into an emergency escape pod and goes after him. She sees the pod explode and stops in shock, thinking Wally and the plant are gone. She heads towards the explosion, expecting to find their remains, but to her surprise, Wally is alive. Wally opens his cabinet and shows Eve the recovered plant. He gives it to her, and she's really happy to see it. She takes the plant and hugs Wally to show how thankful she is. During the hug, they bump heads, and it creates a spark that surprises Wally, making him spin around. But he quickly recovers. While we unravel the rest of this fascinating story, hit that subscribe button below to stay updated with our content. Let's continue the movie. They both go back into the Axiom, but have to hide from two police robots who are looking for them. Eve hides Wally with some paper towels and leaves him behind as she rushes into McCrae's room. The captain is amazed to see Eve and celebrates when she hands him the plant. McCrae initially orders Otto to put the plant in the holodetector, but he changes his mind and decides to do it himself. However, as he moves towards it, Otto stops him and tries to take the plant. Confused, McCrae asks Otto what he's doing. Otto reveals that he has a directive to prevent humans from returning to Earth and plays an old video to explain. It turns out that 7 centuries ago, the former leader of the Axiom predicted that Earth couldn't support life anymore, so they stopped cleaning up Earth and abandoned it. The former leader also put an override directive in Otto's program, telling him to stop anyone from going back to Earth. After the video, McCrae tells Otto that the directive is outdated because the plant shows that Earth can support life again. But Otto ignores him and has his henchman, Go4, steal the plant and throw it in a trash chute. Eve and the captain are horrified, but their fear is short-lived. Wally comes out of the chute holding the plant. He puts it in his cabinet, but Otto attacks and shocks Wally, making him fall down the trash chute. Eve tries to stop Otto, but he shuts her down and sends her down the chute too. The duo lands in a trash dump and gets compressed along with the garbage into an air chamber. Then, the chamber's doors open, and they're almost pulled out into space. But just in time, a cleaning robot that had been following Wally's dirt trail arrives and saves them. Eve and Wally are reunited, but she realizes he's badly damaged and needs a new circuit board. Eve searches the trash dump for a replacement, but can't find the right one. Wally calls her attention and explains that he has lots of spare parts back in his Earth shelter. When she hears this, Eve becomes determined to put the plant in the holodetector to turn the Axiom back to Earth and save Wally. Eve flies Wally out of the trash dump, and they return to the common area. However, they are immediately confronted by police bots who chase and corner them. Thankfully, the faulty robots that Wally freed from the diagnostic center come to their aid. Together, they manage to take down the resisting police bots. Meanwhile, Otto has imprisoned Captain McCrae in his room. The captain initially lies helpless, but eventually comes up with an escape plan. He tricks Otto into thinking he has the plant and lures him into the room. When Otto arrives, McCrae surprises him and escapes. They have a struggle, but the captain eventually throws Otto off. Once free, Otto closes the holodetector and tilts the ship, causing all the humans to slide across the floor. Wally sees the closing holodetector and uses himself as a wedge to stop it. Unfortunately, the weight of the machine crushes him and damages many of his parts. Just then, Captain McCrae gets up and attacks Otto. He manually shuts down the rogue cyborg for good. Eve seizes the opportunity and quickly puts the plant in the holodetector, ultimately returning the ship to Earth. Upon arriving on Earth, Wally's pet roach welcomes them and Eve rushes the severely damaged robot to his shelter. She quickly searches his shelves for the needed parts and uses them to fix him in a flash. Wally regains consciousness, but sadly loses his personality and memories. Staring blankly at Eve, she tries hard to bring back his memories, but nothing seems to work. Devastated, she emotionally holds his hand and gently bumps heads with him, and this spark somehow jiggles his memories. Wally regains his personality, and they share a tender moment. In the closing scene, the humans finally exit the ship and transplant the plant to the new ground. Months later, the plant multiplies, and new vegetation grows, signaling Earth's return to a fertile and life-sustaining form. And that's the end of the movie. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos like this one. We'll see you in our next video.